Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. It's Joy. And finally, we are post-election, I would say. It's Saturday. Election day was Tuesday. And it's official, finally. Although I think we all kind of knew, like on Thursday, that Joe Biden is going to be the next president. I always say if he lives till Inauguration Day, he will. That ain't on me now. And Kamala is, of course, going to be the next vice president, being anointed as the first Asian, South Asian, black woman of color, HBCU, aka vice president. And I would say at this point, I'm just going to talk about my thoughts over what I've seen so far. Liberal America and the left-leaning media, all the pundits who supposedly knew all along, this is the biggest thing I've seen so far, are once again making these pronouncements that black people, specifically black women, saved America in this election by overwhelmingly voting for Biden in the key cities and states that mattered: Philly, Pennsylvania, Detroit, Michigan, Atlanta, Georgia, where else? Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Everyone knew it all along that black people were going to save America again. But that leads me to the question that we have to ask ourselves. And this is what I've been thinking about over these last days. If black people will, at election after election, save America, why won't America save black people? So I'm coming on here to talk, share my initial thoughts about what I've been seeing. Been collecting little snippets over the last couple days here and there. And so let's get started. Black people keep saving America. Why won't America save us? Well, let's go to Cali first. Proposition 16 was on the ballot. Now, this proposition, we're going to talk about, we do this over and over again. Black people, election after election, we vote for Democrats, and we expect something to return. It doesn't happen at the state level. It doesn't happen at the national level. It doesn't happen even at the local level, despite this loyalty. Case in point is this Proposition 16 I'm about to tell you about here. So this proposition, I'll continue, would have reinstated the ability to consider race and sex in government hiring and contracting and in public university admissions. Now, this proposition was defeated, upholding a ban that voters first approved 24 years ago in California. So it's by Wednesday when I checked it, the measure was trailing 12 percentage points, which was slightly larger than it trailed by in 1996 when it was outlawed. Based on that data, it looks like only 6 counties throughout California, and California is like the 5th biggest economy in the world. If you look at it just based on GDP, only 6 counties in all of California voted to overturn the proposition banning affirmative action. And those counties were in the Bay Area, where we have a large percentage of ADOS black people, and in Los Angeles County, the other place we have a large percentage of ADOS black people in California. The same thing where affirmative action policy ban was upheld happened here in Washington with I-1000. What was that, 2 years ago? It got banned again. We see all these predominantly Asian coalitions here doing the pushing back against reinstating affirmative action. The same thing we saw in California with Proposition 16. Now, these affirmative action policies, race, sex, I think they should be more specific in specifically designating lineage. These affirmative action policies should exist and were created to reverse the wrongs of the past, to right those wrongs. In which we saw white males, white women, East Asians, South Asians, increasingly, get preferential treatment in admissions, in jobs, And yet, because these same groups don't want to lose anything, they're fine with maintaining a bottom caste system of ADOS people. We see affirmative action policies that are the policies that I talk about, that I mean when I talk about reparations, the policies that go on along with caste reparations. It's affirmative action that is specific to lineage. But these policies are admonished by groups that are the 1% in their countries of origin and here. So whether you're a recent immigrant or been here for generations, they're the 1%, the upper caste. And yet they don't want to see ADOS, a bottom caste, become anything because it would involve them losing something, righting wrongs, dismantling white supremacy, and the legacy of Jim Crow, keeping black kids out of school, segregation, preschool to prison pipeline. When we see matters like Proposition 16 being upheld, affirmative action banned in states that are universally blue, like Washington and California, we have to realize that it's upon us to stop using language like black and brown coalitions and BIPOC. Because not every brown community is caping for ADOS or black people like we have always caped for them. I'm going to get to it later on, but black people ran Trump out of office in these cities that mattered. 40% of Hispanic voters, Latinx, it's not the same thing, but people use them interchangeably when we're talking about politics. I'll be more specific, say Latinx voters voted for Trump. But y'all remember how the whole damn internet, now 40%, let me pause there and make sure I got it. 40% of Latinx voters in this 2020 election, exit polls are showing, voted for Trump. But one of my recent videos, this is what I'm talking about, the whole damn internet seemed to have an issue with 3 undecided black women voters who were on MSNBC, who dared say that they were undecided, not voting for Trump, but merely undecided, and rightfully so. Jemele Hill, who seems to blame everybody but herself for what's happening in the world around her, seemingly ignored this 40% of Latinos and the 30-something% of Asians who voted for Trump, and said that if Trump wins, now this is pre us finding out about Biden, if Trump wins re-election, it's on white people, no one else. Okay. The only downtick I've seen thus far in voting for Trump amongst racial demographics, race by gender, Latino men, women, white men, women, black men, women, Asian men, women. The only downtick in votes for Trump from 2016 to 2020 was white men. So unfortunately, this is not just on white men this election cycle, or white women this election cycle. Even though Jemele's mother, by her own admission, voted for Trump in 2016, Jemele says it's just on the white people. I didn't vote for Trump. I didn't vote for Biden, but again, this is what I'm seeing, and I'm not understanding it. Because we can proclaim that black people save the United States, but in the same breath not realize that it's not just white people who are voting Republican and conservative and for Trump. Another black feminist, Twitter icon, Janelle Monáe, said, quote, F Donald Trump and every American citizen, celebrity, white woman, black man, etc. who supported him. Burn, end quote. Again, I guess the third of Asian and third of Latino voters in this election, 2020, not talking about 2016, who voted for Trump after 4 years of seeing of him closing borders, cutting off H-1Bs, restricting access to this country, calling it the China virus. But it's on black men to save us from this one. One of the most loyal voter bases for Democrats, black men, are chastised for not voting lockstep with the Dems, even though they did. Even though they did. As they always have. Good or bad. I ran across this. It said, Latinx people in the United States are never going to be a monolith. Nor do we expect them to be. If you look at some of the stats, we see that Cubans voted for Trump at much higher rates than Puerto Ricans did in this election. We're talking about Trump versus Biden. And that's why we continue to see states like Florida go red. States like Arizona be up in the air. Or were it purple? The media understands that Latinx people in the U.S. are not a monolith. Latinx people understand that they are not a monolith. If that's the case, then why do celebrities like Janelle Monáe expect black people to be a monolith? Pam Keefe, I hate it because it's always the black women. You know how you like want to mentor, you want to look up to older black women and say like, oh, she's stepping right. I few and far between. Not dim politicians for sure. And not the black feminist I see on Twitter, Janelle Monáe and Jemele Hill specifically. Pam Keefe, she's always had this dim candidate title in her Twitter bio. I think some people said she lost recently, but I feel like she lost 4 years ago too. I don't care if she lost. I hope she lost, actually. She said here, 91% of black women voted for Biden because we love everyone. 20% of black men voted for Trump because they hate black women. Okay. That turned real ugly real quick. And it goes to say, thank you to the 80% of brothers who stand with and for us, light-skinned, black power fist. Again, what I'm seeing. I'm trying to shuffle through all the leaves, see who the president is, and this is the 2 inches of shit water I have to walk through to get to the election results. I'm trying to figure out how Pam Keefe can jump to the conclusion. If someone can name me one thing that Trump has actually done to hurt black women, and then I can understand how she can jump to that conclusion. If anybody can find me that thing that Trump has done to hurt black women, I will send Pam Keefe a bouquet of flowers and apologize when we talk about who hates black women. I'm asking for one thing Trump has done to hurt black women. ADOS women specifically. ADOS women specifically. I don't even have to think about it. I don't have to be a political analyst. I don't have to be a history major. I don't have to be sociologist. I don't have to be a democratic strategist. I don't have to be any of these things to know the specific harm that Joe Biden, though, has done and that Kamala has done to black women. Joe Biden left a generation of black women to take care of kids their whole life as single mothers when he locked up that same generation of black men who wanted to be the fathers in the home. That same Joe Biden went ahead with confirming Clarence Thomas after chastising Anita Hill, a black woman, on national TV. Reduced her to a mistaken schoolgirl when she's, a law professor going in front of the most prominent politicians in the nation telling her story. Who did Kamala send to jail under her truancy laws? Mothers who wouldn't force their kids to go to school sick. And so I ask you again, who actually hurt black women? It's like after a summer of protesting, y'all already forgot Kamala was a top cop. Is going to be a top cop as vice president. But Pam Keefe wants me to believe that it's black men that are harming, that hate black women. When I've seen it right in front of me, the two folks that were just voted into the office have done the most harm to black women. Still, Georgia went blue this year. And the main lesson we could take from that that I took at least, as Wayne Gwingley on Twitter so eloquently put it. Stacey Abrams did the work, but Kamala Harris gets to eat the fruit. And I'm no big fan of Stacey Abrams, but even I can see this as plain as day. They went on to say, and this is a part of what I think is happening here with Abrams and the Kamalas, and the fact that we have not had an ADOS person in the White House, despite Obama and Harris assuming African Americanness when they want to. Wayne Gwingley said, I hope we have a colorism conversation about how an extremely accomplished, unambiguously black ADOS, American descendant of slavery woman with Afrocentric features and a deep complexion was overlooked for an elite biracial Jamaican Brahmin Indian. That's a mouthful, but it says it all. I mean, Stacey Abrams is unambiguously a black ADOS woman, as they say here. Looks black, sounds black, grew up, also went to an HBCU. Didn't go live her formative years in a foreign country. Didn't come from an elite international background on both sides of the family and have that access to escape and why and when you're ready. Y'all remember how liberals, specifically Red Rose Twitter, clown Stacey Abrams when she didn't get the VP nod from Biden? Plastered her dumbfounded face all over social media and thumbnails on their YouTube pages and videos. And now it's turning out that Stacey Abrams might be the reason Biden is going to be elected at all. And for sure, the reason that Georgia is going to be blue for the first time in decades. And yet Kamala, who was trailing in 6th place among black voters during the primaries, 6th place. Corey was maybe even lower at that point. I don't know. But 6th place among black voters during the primaries, of all these white male candidates, white female candidates, she ended up with the VP nod. That Kamala ended up with the VP nod. The other thing I keep seeing people post on IG, Facebook, all this stuff, is that black people save the country. But again, I which made me go back to my original question that I had at the beginning of this video. Is if we know that black people keep saving the country, why haven't we asked, I have asked, we collective ADOS voting bloc, why haven't we asked Joe and Kamala what we get in exchange for saving the country? What do we get back this time? And we were supposed to show up every 4 years. Again, let me put up the meme. They kick us out and they pick us up every 4 years. And we ride around, they give us, oh, here you go, here are the promises. Yeah, I'm going to see you every day this time. I'm going to come visit you. I'm going to put you up in the house. I'm going to make sure the kids are taken care of. And then they come around every 4 years and they say that. And then by the end of the weekend, they're gone again. The Democrats are gone again. And we're like, wow. Or it's that absent mom, absent dad. They're always drugged out. Y'all know what I'm saying. Ruthless Pride on Twitter said, quote, "Black people saved America by voting for Biden. Sounds a lot like Make America Great Again. What America was saved? The one that continues to oppress and brutalize black people? Is that something to be proud of?" End quote. Right. Top cop and Jim Crow Joe Biden. We're being told that by voting for them, black people are being told that by voting for Jim Crow Joe and Top Cop Kamala, I'm never going to get that right. It is what it is. That we saved America. Well, from ourselves? Biden's already said he's not defunding police. He's always been a Law and Order dim. He's built his career on being a Law and Order dim. Just heard he's consulting. One of his advisors on foreign policy is going to be Dick Cheney, one of the most brutal foreign policy proponents in U.S. in recent history, at least. Ever hear of the Iraq and Afghanistan wars? Dick Cheney helped craft all that. I don't give a damn about the media touting the black population as saviors. Not when we saved everybody else but ourselves. This here is from Jason Johnson. And I'm going to say it now. He even a broken clock is right twice a day. He tweeted that quote, "Black men and women voted for Biden at a greater rate than any other group of people in America. In fact, black men voted blue at a greater rate than white, Asian, or Latino, Latinx, Hispanic men. They also voted blue at a higher rate than white women. Let's remember that," end quote. Y'all keep that in mind. We know that. We've always done that. I remember when I was a little girl, black people doing the same thing, ADOS people doing the same thing in Louisiana. When who was running? It was David Duke, and I want to say it might not have been Edwin Edwards, but it might have been Edwin Edwards. Well, I remember my mom was saying, "Oh, everyone knows who David Duke is. Even Donald Trump has repudiated David Duke." And this man was running for either senator or governor. I was small. I can't remember the two. But known Klansman, known leader of the Klan, running for a statewide office in Louisiana. And I remember black people then mobilizing souls to the polls, getting everybody up and out to vote so that he wouldn't win office. So we've always done it. And got nothing in return. And that's the devastating part. So with Biden on his way to the White House, or at least president-elect, again, what is it, 100 some days we got to wait? And Kamala, she sister girled her way into the VP spot. I hope every black person, especially ADOS, who voted for Biden or Harris, start asking yourselves. We got to start asking ourselves, what have they done for me lately? What have they done for us lately? The answer will probably be nothing. But we already knew that, didn't we? Yeah, those are my thoughts. That's what I got, folks. Told you I'm just keep pulling snippets for a little bit on this post-election coverage, calling it like I'm on CNN, bringing what I'm seeing, folks saying on the internet. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you next time.